brush painted side trucks that actually look better than airbrushed. Hey, I'm Jamie, and today we're going to be painting the side trucks that's going to go on the Florida East Coast SW1200. That is, this is my $20 thrift store fine locomotive. And what we're doing is replacing the side trucks from the roller bearing, replacing the side trucks from the friction bearing to roller bearings. And to me, it's more of an aesthetic thing. So in the last video, we separated the actual pieces from the supports and primed them and got them, not really primed them, but sanded them, and we have them ready for painting. So today we're going to paint up the trucks. And what I do for painting for small items like this, I have an airbrush set up, but sometimes it's just more of a pain in the butt to go down in the garage and try to get it going, and for small jobs it just doesn't make sense. If I was doing maybe 2 sets of these or a lot more, it would make sense. What I'll start with is the actual 3D printed piece, and if you haven't already found these alligator clips on a stick, these are really cool things. You can pick them up at your local hobby stores, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, things like that. Find them online, wherever. These are great for holding the pieces in. And what I'm just going to do is clip it to the back support, because I know I'm not going to paint that piece. And we have instant side truck on the stick. For the paint, I'm going to use basically primer black. This is the same thing I use to primer my model pieces, and it's already mixed up. It's diluted, I think like 35%, 40% with airbrush dilution, and this is a acrylic paint. Again, I use this for brush jobs also. I'm going to just put a few drops, and if you haven't done it already, when you're mixing paint, I usually mix up a batch at a time and put a nice little dropper box in there. This is great, again, for airbrushing, or as you see, that's dropping it into my paint tray here. I also use these smaller bottles because the paint's already pre-mixed, or I pre-mix it, and it's easy enough to drop it in your airbrush and go. So let me just add a little bit more to my tray. And I already kind of shook this up this morning, but we'll get a little bit more there. All right, we're ready to go. And what I'm going to be doing is just using a cheap plastic brush. I'm not into very expensive brushes because, well, I know me. This is a number 2 brush. I guess more of a small, medium-sized brush. But I'm just going to dip it into the paint a little bit and we'll start. And I'm just going to go over the top of it, kind of in this a smooth motion, and I'm not going to try to lather the paint on there. I'm just going to let it cover, get into the nooks and crannies. Now that the top part's drying, I'm going to flip around and do the underside of it. And again, I'm just looking for kind of just good coverage. And for the far as the back goes, we're not going to see much of it at all. I'll just do a quick one coat on the back just to make it blend in into the shadows a little bit more, and nobody's really going to notice it from if the back's painted or not, but we'll just do a quick little coat just to make sure we have all of it covered in. On these trucks, do not paint inside of the holes there, because that's where the axle is actually going to go and rotate. And also do not paint the support piece sticking out. That actually goes inside of the locomotive body. And just a quick review here of what I've got. Do some on top here. All right, and as we can see, that's already starting to look pretty good. I like it. We're going to set this to the side and let it dry, and I'm going to repeat this process on the next one. All right, and there we have it. We have our four side frames that are ready to go. I like hand brushing the side frames because I'm just going to be frank. I like 3D printing. I like the 3D resin prints. However, in your modeling software, the prints come out a little bit too perfect, and it's too smooth in my opinion. Yes, you can do things to rough it up, but I found that quickest way to rough it up if you want kind of a texture on it is doing what I just did, which was hand paint it. Airbrush is great. Again, if you want a smooth surface, that's great. For the side trucks, I want a little bit of age, so that's kind of why I hand painted these, to give it a little bit of brush strokes, to give it some texture in there. And I just think they look a little bit better than just the spray painted or the airbrushed ones. That's just my opinion. But as you see, it's not much to paint these and get them ready. And in our next episode, we're going to actually take the FEC 1200 and we're going to start removing the side frames and start installing these side trucks. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel so I can keep in touch, so you can see as this series progresses. And that's it for today. And I appreciate everybody watching. I hope everybody has a great week. Talk to you soon. Bye.